I come from the belief that your guides, your angel, your higher power is communicating with you already on a daily basis. They see past, present, and future, and they read energy on a collective basis. People don't understand intention goes a long way. That's energetic boundaries. Things that matter and that are make or break, I'm gonna go way higher. There's a collective set of beings out there that are in other dimensions that at different times in our lives we might interact with. People are like, oh, I'm afraid of it because it's scary, it's dark, it's evil. Angel numbers, 1111, 222, 333. We wanna know what mom who's passed, what she meant in her will. Those things are not gonna be answered by higher level beings because they don't play in that realm. I think there's a lot to learn from Jesus. People call them ascended masters. I want to tap into sacred geometry and the mysteries of the pyramid. Then their guide might be Archangel Metatron. I always ask for level 10 signs. Make it intense and make it everywhere. I realize there's a lot people don't know about. The way I think about it, right, there is the world that we see and there's the world that we don't see, right? And what falls under the world that we don't see is like energy, one of them, but also different dimensions. We exist in a plane to where there's different things happening at different dimensions. And some people, can see what happens in a dimension, can hear, can feel. For example, let's say somebody who's passed. A spirit, somebody who has passed, right? And some people can see spirits or ghosts. They can see it with their eyes, with their naked eye, and can see that energy from that dimension visually. Some people can hear. They hear plates moving, pianos playing, spoons, and all those different things, footsteps. They can't really see, but they can hear because that's the main way they process. Some people like me, I don't see, I don't hear, but I feel. If there's a presence, next thing you know, I feel, I feel it, like goosebumps, hair in the back of my neck. And when I have that, I look to my wife who can see, and she's like, yep. And we're processing the same invisible thing, in another dimension in different ways. She can see, I can feel, some people can hear. Now, when I look at that, I realize there's a lot that people don't know about. Right? That means there's a lot of, whether it's guides, angels, spirits, higher level beings, whatever you want to call them, there's a lot of energy out there that exists that are in other dimensions, right? That at different times in our lives we might interact with, right? Because we need something, we need guidance, we need support, we need to believe, we need a wake-up call, we need a big sign. Those things happen. Right? And a lot of times we don't ask ourselves, what's the source of it? Because the thing is, the way I look at it, in someone's lifetime, they might not know that they might have interacted or had signs from 5 different archangels, 4 angels, 3 spirit guides, 2 of their ancestors who have passed, and the list goes on, and you can go as wild as you can go. But the way I look at it is there's a collective set of beings out there in different dimensions that might give you advice, give you signs, give you confirmation, give you it through dream form, giving it to you through feelings that you feel in your body, through what you see, through what you hear, through the things, that you watch on TV, to music that you hear, to lights flickering. Signs are everywhere, and they're coming from a source. And to me, source of that sign could be a collective. That might change depending on where you are. Let's say you're going through heartache and divorce, right? And because of that, there's a specific archangel and one of your spirit guides, who's your ancestors, and and several other beings that specialize in heartbreak and divorce and that kind of pain that people go through. Then during that period of your time, you're exposed to that collective, and next thing you know, you bounce back from that, and you're pursuing your purpose work, your passion. There's another set of maybe archangels, guides, spirit guides, God, higher power, universe, whatever you believe in. But a set of individuals from different dimensions that are now giving you advice, helping you, because that's what they specialize in. So the way I look at it is I'm not scared when it comes to these things that we don't understand, because I look at things as there's always different sides to things. People are like, oh, I'm afraid of it because it's scary, it's dark, it's evil, it's this and that. And I'm like, okay, if there's darkness, there's also light. And I choose to tap in to the light, to the encouragement, to the guidance, through the science for clarity to better my life. And you can have both are available to you. It's just that, what do you want to tap into? I think a lot of it is, as human beings, we underestimate our power and our light, right? We give our power away to the unseen, to the unknown, because we think it's bigger than us, stronger than us. But the way I look at it, right, if they're energetic beings that we can't see because they don't have human form, we are energy in human form. We're also energy, right? We're just as powerful, and a lot of times more powerful than beings that want to get a message across to people who are still living in their past. And we can do it because we still have the body, and they want to give us a message to share. They can't do it, so they're coming to us for help, for example. A lot of times I think we underestimate the power that we have within, that we are light. We come from a higher source. We're here in human form. Therefore, what they are, we are as well. It's just that they're existing in a different plane that we can't see, and it's not in physical form, right? So for me, I know that. I'm grounded in that. I used to be afraid, like everybody else, watching scary movies, growing up watching horror films with my cousins and my family members. And you have this images and associations of fear and how it looks like. And to me, that is a vibration, that is a channel, that is a reality. But in a world where there's infinite realities, I'm going to choose the one that I want. And when it comes to energy, people don't understand intention goes a long way. So for me, I set an intention. God, higher power, universe, whatever you all believe in, is like, I'm setting an intention that I only want science, guidance, information, knowledge from higher level beings of love and light for the highest good of all. Anything that's fear-based, anything that's negative, anything that's low vibrational, you're not allowed in my field. And to me, that's energetic boundaries, right? Just because someone's knocking at your door and they're trying to sell you something doesn't mean you have to open it. Someone calls you and it's unknown number and it's a spam call, it means you have to answer it. You can decline it. You can block it. You don't have to go to the door, right? And people sometimes forget that just because it's the unseen and the unknown doesn't mean that you can't have boundaries and that you don't have that power. We do. It's just that we don't step into it because maybe we were never taught to do that. I feel like they're dimension-based, right? I feel like you talk about angels and archangels. I believe at one form or one time in history, they might have been humans. They might have been different forms. And through time, through an ascension process, you choose to do things for the greater good. And if I look at archangels, for example, they are in a dimension where they can be at multiple places at once, omnipresence with the exact same potency. For example, let's say you have 10,000 people that are asking for help and protection from Archangel Michael. It's not going to take Archangel Michael years to get to every single one. When all 10,000 make a request, Archangel Michael's energy goes to all 10,000, protecting them at once, because that's the dimension that they live in, right? And when I look at archangels, they are beyond the human existence. Therefore, their answers that they may give you are very much, it might seem like it's broad and ancient and a little bit more like mystic, and it's not so much the same tone as maybe your grandma who's passed and they're just in this, a little bit of a higher vibration where you are, but they still have their personality. They still have their biases. They still have their traits, their quirks, their own just like opinions. So it's not that it's not the right information, but it's just coming from a different dimension. So the higher you go, the less there's ego, the less there's a human element to it, the less, the less programming affects it, the less trauma it has, right? And I feel like guides come vibration based. So let's say you have someone who had just passed and they have a lot of unprocessed trauma and they haven't moved on. They live in a vibration that has still a lot of trauma. Therefore, do I want to take advice from that version of them that still has a lot of trauma? No, I might want to go higher. If I'm looking for higher level advice, I'm going to look for advice from a source that can see things, has perspective, has figured it out, and can give me sound wisdom. So I'm going to choose a, archangel, for example, or angels or God or higher level beings for things that I feel are important to me that no other human has answers to. The mysteries of the world, healing, like, purpose work. Do I turn left? Do I turn right? These certain, things that are, for me, things that matter and that are make or break, I'm going to go way higher. Now, some people go a little bit trivial. They're like, okay, we want to know what mom who's passed, like, what she meant in her will. Those things are not going to be answered by higher level beings because they don't play in that realm. They play in a little bit of a lower realm where they're still in the humanistic space. You're going to get a little bit of personality. And to me, it just depends on what kind of answers you're looking for. And it depends on what stage of life you're in, right? Depending on the answers that you're looking for, it will determine what dimension you tap into and what guide or energy is there to give you information. As far as angels and spirit guides, I feel like an angel or an archangel can be a guide of yours. Because sometimes, let's say you have healers, right? And they're learning about their purpose work. They're getting into healing and they've got the heart of a healer. They want to help. Then their guide might be Archangel Gabriel or Archangel Raphael, right? Depending. Or let's say there is someone that's going into, and they're the kind of healer that's wanting to protect the house or wanting to protect land or wanting to protect a certain area. Then their guide might be Archangel Michael. Or let's say they're healers. They're like, ooh, I want to tap into sacred geometry and the mysteries of the pyramid. Then, their guide might be Archangel Metatron. So I feel like archangels can be guides because guides is more of a function. They're guiding you through life. So God can be your guide. An archangel can be your guide. Your ancestor can be your guide because what they're doing is they're guiding you through a time in your life where you need answers and support. People have different beliefs like Buddha, Jesus, like, people call them ascended masters, right? That have come on this planet with a strong message and they change humanity for the better. And for some people, that's who's guiding you in life, right? And I've seen it strongly, right? If it's compassion and unconditional love, right? And courage, like, then Jesus comes in very strong as your guide. And that's the thing is I believe depending on what stage of life we're in and what we need, the guide that we need shows up perfectly every single time. It's just that we have to be open to it. You have to be open to it, and we also have to start looking for the messages because they're there. A lot of times it's just we don't catch it because we're too busy with everything else in life that life throws our way, right? But when we become proactive with it, the signs are clear as day. I think there's a lot to learn from Jesus as far as, the gifts that he gave to the world, what he embodies, the kind of love that he has, right? The healing energy, the courage. And I feel like for a lot of people, he's one of those that guides everybody. It's there. It's just present because with that type of love and that type of gift and energy, the world can feel it. Therefore, there are certain ascended masters that really their whole goal is just to wrap the world in love. So the presence is always there. And if you are more specific, then you can feel it more. But I feel like there are some that are just eternally supporting, eternally guiding, eternally loving. And I think Jesus is one of them. They exist in a dimension where they see past, present, and future. They see all of that, and they read energy. They read energy on a collective basis. So if you have a need, right, and you've seen a lot of these stories online, to where someone's about to get in an accident and they feel like somebody shoved them aside and nobody has any recollection, no one has seen it, and it's their angel, right? And there are times in life yes, we ask for it, we intend it, and they respond based on our intention because they can read the energy. And there's times too where they can see the timeline, they can see when you need it the most, that you don't even know you need it the most, and they come in and they help. So guides, you can ask for them, or they show up in times where you need them, or they show up in times when it's divinely guided. Some people, they do it through meditation. They imagine, their guides coming down in blue or white form, or they're connecting to their guides and they're communicating that way, and that's how they do it. For some people, like me, I'm intentional. I just say the intention. I have to say it. Some people have to write it. Some people, they just feel it. They say it internally or they feel it, and that works. My wife, Mandy, she prays. For her, that's when she prays, it works. And again, a lot of the times there's that, which I consider proactive. And there are times to where it just happens before you can even say something or ask, because that's the point of guides. They guide you through stuff. And for the most part, they guide you through your blind spots. When you don't even know you don't know, they show up and you're like, wow, I didn't ask for guidance. And they're here. Oh, because that's what guides do. They're on 24/7. Right? When you're open to them, you can hear them more. You can be proactive, but for the most part, they're also there for the things that you can't see, you can't expect, in the times that you don't even know that you need help. When it comes to strengthening any connection, becoming intentional is super important. So think about it. If you wanted to buy a car in the past, and you're like, I want this specific car. Next thing you know, it's everywhere. You start seeing that car everywhere you drive. It's almost like, was it not there before? Or is it because you became intentional now that you're starting to see it everywhere? So it's the same thing. I come from the belief that your guides, your angel, your higher power is communicating with you already on a daily basis. But the thing is, there's just so much noise that it gets drowned out. We can't hear it, we can't see it, we can't feel it, because if there is 30 songs playing right now, full blast, you're not going to be able to listen to one and know what it says, because it's being drowned out from everything. So step number one is I feel like you've got to be intentional. I'm looking for signs. Please give me signs. I'm open to signs. I'm open to messages and communication. And they may come in different forms. They may come through angel numbers, 1111, 222, 333, what you see around you. It may come through songs, like the songs have messages, or it may come through the movies that you watch have messages, or it might come through somebody else, let's say, who's a channel and you don't know they're a channel, but they interact with you throughout your day and they just have a message for you and they say it to you and you're like, that's profound. You never know if that was channeled from your angels coming in through someone who's gifted, giving you that message in human form, and that's your message. And sometimes your message is how you feel. How you feel inside. Your body can be one of the biggest, teachers and guides and just source of information for you. Or sometimes it's through animals. You see a bird, you see a horse, they give you messages through whatever catches your attention and whatever works. You can start off with basic stuff, right? A lot of times you can be like, okay, let's say you want a certain job, or you want to move, right? You can say, all right, angels, guides, higher power, if you really want me to move, I'm supposed to move for the highest good of all, and this is supposed to be my next step, make it absolutely clear. Give me all the signs that I need to see, make it to where I can't ignore it, and if I'm not getting those signs, that means it's a no. And you just really make it like a yes or no. There's no space for error. And you can do it the reverse. I remember my wife, when we first met, she got led to move to Sedona. So we were there for 30 days and she couldn't find a house. We couldn't find a house and things weren't working out, but we were led to go there and we surrendered and we were there and nothing was happening. And it was the most frustrating thing. And I remember she got to a point where she gave an ultimatum and people don't realize you can do this stuff. And she was like, okay, God, if I'm meant to be here, show me a sign in the next 24 hours that I'm meant to be here. Otherwise, I'm leaving. And within 24 hours, house showed up. Like, people started paying her. Clients showed up out of nowhere, making it the biggest month she's ever had. And all the signs and synchronicities showed up when she asked. But a lot of times people are afraid to stand in their power and ask for stuff like that. But when you do, it delivers. So for me, that's kind of like how you can do it, is you can actually play around with those really like, hey, if it's a yes or if it's a no, show me the signs and in a short amount of time. And you'll be surprised with actually what unfolds after you make that intention or request. The way you know is I always ask for level 10 signs. I'm like, please don't make it subtle, make it intense, and make it everywhere. So for me, if I see it once or twice, I'm like, But the way signs work for me is like once, twice, and next thing you know, it's everywhere. It won't stop, and it got to a point to where your mind's like, okay, this is crazy. I get it. I got the sign loud and clear, because the thing is, your mind at first will doubt it because we're not used to this. And we start thinking like, am I making it up? Oh, yeah, it's just maybe just me. And it's fine to have those doubts. Everyone's had it. I've had them, right? But what ends up happening is more signs show up. And it comes to a point to where you can no longer deny the signs. And you're going to be like, the chances of this happening this often at this short amount of time everywhere in my life is just not possible. And then you start to surrender and you realize that there is higher communication going through that the mind can't simply ignore anymore.